Those of you who don't know me, you probably do, but I am the host of the Self-Achievement Network and the founder of the Self-Achievement System. My name is Dominic, and on the call with me today is Lisa Tucci. She's in Rome, and she is all about quantum learning. This is one of her dreams and goals is to work with children, and I'm not going to do an introduction. I'm going to let her do that, and we're going to learn a little bit about quantum learning and what that means, and then I'll be asking her a few questions. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay,
Hello.
hello everyone. I'm actually today I'm in the above the Bay of Naples, so it's raining, so I get to stay inside. You don't get to see the beautiful view of Vesuvius. But anyway, thank you, Dominic, for this opportunity to talk about something that I'm totally passionate about. Quantum Learning is an organization, an educational organization and a foundation that was founded 35 years ago by an incredible visionary who I consider the Montessori of our time, named Bobby DePorter. And she's in the US. And over the last 35 years, she's developed a number of programs that lets children live their best lives. And basically all of the wonderful, brilliant things that we're all picking up now as adults from people like you and coaches, we've been training kids to do this for 35 years. And, the ripple effect, we've affected about 20 million people. And so I got involved with their Super Camp program. It's an 8-day or 10-day program. My program is 8 days. And I decided I would bring it to Europe. And I'm the only program in Europe, Super Camp Italy. And basically, I I couldn't believe that the program exists all over the world. We're in about 19 countries, and we had been in Europe in the past. In fact, our first international program had been in Moscow like 30 years ago. And I was like so charged up by learning the way that they approach it. Makes learning fun. Everything's done through goofiness and activities and brain games and getting kids to really tap in to their full potential.
Hmm.
So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years.
Wow.
And hosting this 8-day program this year will be in the Dolomites. Um, and we push kids out of their comfort zones. We get them to think about who they are, what their goals are, and how they want to achieve them. And we give them the tools to do so.
Hmm. So just from what you've explained, what I visioned in my mind is like a summer camp kind of thing. And it's
Right.
outdoors and indoors, or describe the environment.
So we call it, even though we call it an academic program, it's done, a lot of things are done through games and so on, and activities that we do. We think that kids are more apt to learn in nature, more apt to learn outside, so we really try to do as much as we can outside.
Hmm.
So we will do a lot of different, we have modules that each day in the 8-day program kind of build one upon the other. And so we'll take it outside all the time. And then we take a ton of breaks, which is what schools now are figuring it out again, that, schools went into getting rid of recess, and now they realize that your brain needs breaks. You need to be relaxed, and then your brain processes the learning. So we
Hmm.
take a lot of breaks. We have a lot of fun. And our day 4, so day 3, we will work on team building and supporting each other and supporting your network. And we do all of these things outside with a bunch of different skills that they start to learn, the trust passes, trust falls, things like that. So then on day 4, the kids are with their team on an outdoor adventure course all day, pushing them out of their comfort zone, pushing them a little bit further and just a little bit further. It can mean going from a 3-foot high up the ground to 6-foot high up the ground. You don't have to be the one swinging from the tallest trees. But
Hmm.
I know that I had a little Italian boy. He was about 11 when he joined Super Camp. And that night we do these things called theta scans, your brain scans. The kids leave me little Post-it notes on my door. And he said, I now know I can do anything
Hmm.
after that
Wow.
experience. Yeah.
So the kids are brought in from all over the world, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can enroll from wherever, and then they fly in with or without a parent.
I tend to try to convince parents not to fly in with the kids.
Ah.
That's two reasons. First, unless parents are taking a vacation in Italy, it's expensive, for them to come and drop off a child. And secondly, I think it's a huge, huge um, recognition of their growth to let kids go on a plane by themselves and they get to go away by themselves, and it kind of adds to the excitement. And I think you get a lot of kids just feeling so proud of themselves the day they start camp. So we pick kids up at a lot of different airports. We had last year 25 kids from 17 countries.
Mm. Wow.
And this year I think will be about the same. It's looking already about a dozen countries. And my goal, of course, is to have about 40 kids at least this year. Um, and we'll see. But again, there's a lot of programs offered around the world. So if it doesn't work out, the Italian dates, which is mine, is only one program. There are programs all summer long in Stanford campus, at Texas University this year, Wake Forest, places like that,
Hmm.
Vancouver.
And when you say kids, I mean that's a kind of a wide range. What's the age, what is it, requirement or whatever range of the children that normally attend?
So I do a combined program, which is kind of unusual. I think I do it Singapore and maybe Kenya, but we break it out anyway into two different, very distinct curriculum that the kids follow. So junior form is 11 to 13/14, and senior form is 14 to 18. The 14-year-olds are on the cusp, depending on where they are at school. And they
Hmm.
follow a precise curriculum that kind of pertains to that age group. And we think, 11, 12, that's when kids start to have an idea of who they are, what they want to do. We have programs in schools, like in kindergarten and elementary schools. I don't do them yet in Italy because this is only my fourth year. But of course, my big goal is to be in every school in Italy.
Hmm. It's a great goal. I mean, everything's possible, right? So, and sometimes it takes time.
Yeah.
So okay, so the kids are coming, from what did you say, 11 to about 18.
Hmm.
Okay, and those would be divided into different
Two
groups.
teams.
Okay,
Yeah.
two different types of teams. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also visioning like this, sort of like this Tony Robbins thing. I don't like the name drop, but I'm saying it's like, is it like that kind of a thing where they're getting all charged up, they're being challenged physically, and they're
Also,
doing other exercises where they're being challenged mentally?
well, it's funny that you should say Tony Robbins, because he was actually started his career as a super camp counselor.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I could say I can't make the claim, but we trained Tony Robbins. So yes, they're
That's
being
great.
challenged. I mean, they're really being challenged. They're really being challenged to look into themselves every day. They're looking at different approaches, different ways, but um, we break it out into different things. One of the core principles of what we do are called um, are called the 8 keys of excellence. So the kids are learning these important life skills: integrity, balance, flexibility, speak with good purpose. This is it. Take advantage of every moment. Live in the moment. Um, um, Failure leads to success. I'm doing the gestures because that's how your brain remembers things, and we teach the kids these things, how it's much easier to remember stuff. The kids also start off learning about the brains, how their brains work, what's an alpha state. When you're in fight or flight, your brain won't take on any information. You will not remember that exam question. So you need to figure out how to calm down. Now there's this huge mindfulness movement in America, but we've been doing this for 35 years.
Yeah.
And so the idea that, so the kids do a lot of brain work. Then 1/3 of the program is, we call academics. They're actually just tools, a toolkit to get through school better, even if you're a straight A student. So we give them memory pegs and something that you suggested I do, which is so remarkable because, you know, didn't do it, which is mind mapping, and how
Hmm.
you can mind map anything. And that was one of your tools that you're giving us, right? And so we give that to the kids. We work on them as a group. And then um, essay writing, and we have things like slant. And we give them some visuals. And my visual for slant is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So slant, what does that mean? Sit up, lean forward, ask questions, nod your head, and talk to your teacher. And that will probably be the difference between a B and an A.
Wow.
And so the kids get these little tricks to also up their game at school.
Hmm. You know, and that I'm thinking about this question about quantum learning. I mean, I don't really know what that means. Say quantum learning. Is there a distinction between, you know, regular learning and quantum learning? Is are there
Okay,
like
so
the five keys to quantum learning kind of thing? I mean, I don't help me to learn to know.
we call it
Let's say,
quantum learning. Quantum is basically when the basic premise, or the basic your basics, let's just say your science behind something, it goes and expands geometrically into something else. So we just call it, like, what is a quantum leap, right? It's when it's about to go and then it propels into some beyond your wildest imagination.
big, yeah,
So
okay,
I'm
got it.
not saying it perfectly. I know Bobby DePorter would say it much more beautifully, but so we call it quantum learning, meaning that you can take a huge, remarkable step in your learning. We also think it's a lifelong learning program. So maybe this year I'll have a 14-year-old who still doesn't time manage properly when he gets back home or gets back to school the next year. But in a few years, he might remember something that we taught him about how to manage your time and how to make sure you're spending time with your family and on the video games and with your friends and in sports. And
Hmm.
so these kind of, we call it quantum learning for this reason.
That's interesting because I think, you know, back in, you know, when I was that age, I didn't think about time management. I was never taught that, and I don't think that there might have been programs like this available, but I mean, in there's tools that are taught in high school nowadays. I know they're different, and they may teach some time management. That's just one small part of it, though. What I'm hearing is there's a wide range of life skills that you're teaching the kids so that they can, in fact, take a quantum, you know, whatever you want to call it, leap, jump into their life. Now, are they also um, are you exploring like their future goals, helping them create some plans like that? And it says they're
Yeah,
getting a lot
so
of tools. So then the question is, what are they going to build with the tools? You know what I mean?
right. So every day, every minute of our program, in the let's just say the 8-day program, every minute is on purpose. So every day we're building up, we're littering it with success, and little by little they have these success experiences, and they're gaining confidence, and they're little by little we're also creating an amazing atmosphere, an environment where we know that kids will feel safe to express themselves, and then when they feel safe, they can thrive, right? So we do a lot of sharing. They really look at each other, they look at themselves, they're communicating all the time. And so about the last day, we then get to the goals, right? And we've done parent modules. We've talked about how you treat other people, how you're using your words. We're talking about all kinds of things. And we don't just sit in front of a classroom and teach them. No way. We do these crazy tricks like the marshmallow challenge, where they see how they're actually showing up in any particular, like environment. And so we astound the kids. They pretty soon they're like, wow, this is crazy. And so now they have the buy-in, right? So once they buy in, by about day 6, we work on their goals. And one of the things that we do with the kids is they have these boards, and they write on one side of the board their a big goal, whatever it is that has to be in their control. So get straight A's at school, become a fireman. doesn't
Hmm.
matter. You know, we had a young girl 2 years ago, and she said she wanted to fly over the Bermuda Triangle. She wanted to like face her fears, right?
Wow.
She's a really adventurous soul. And so she wrote Fly the Bermuda Triangle. And then we wrote on the other side of the board, what might block you from your success? What is it
Hmm.
that's blocking you from your success? And the kids are incredibly honest. They really dig deep. One boy would say, laziness, right? I'm lazy. I don't want to study. They would write these incredible blocks. And then what we do is we put the boards and they actually break the boards with their bare hand by breaking through that block.
Hmm. And like
And it's like almost like a
yeah,
karate chop. Yeah.
so they're it's not just an intellectual exercise. It gets them involved, and then the whole, yeah. So it's like, what's the word?
We make it physical.
Yeah, there's a thing, a myelination. You know what myelination is?
No.
It's a term that it describes when in the brain. This I learned this from a guy named I forgot his name. Yeah, anyway, so it's like when we learn something inside the brain, we have all these connections, right? And then when we do it once, it's the first time that we do something, whether it like could be playing an instrument. We do this
Right.
on a guitar, and then that like creates the first connection. And we do it again. The brain coats that connection with what's called, I don't know what it is. Some of it, well, but it's some kind of acid or something called myelination. And then
Oh,
we do it again and
myelination.
again and
Yeah.
again and again. It keeps coating it until that connection is solid, and that's how we remember things, right? That's how we learn. So you're getting the kids involved with doing like the intellectual, and then getting them to do something physical, which kind of cements that. That's great.
We call it like we teach the kids, neurons that that are wired together fire together.
I
And
love
so
that.
we tell them that we are creating, and we'll tell parents that we are
Oh,
creating new neuron paths, exactly like what you would do when you say meditate in the morning. Make it a practice until you get there, and then you've created a different neuron pathway that your brain is more open to these things. And that's the point of affirmations and so on as well. So
mhm.
everything we do at camp, we have traditions, we have things. When they hear this certain music, they know that they're going to calm down and sit down and be chill. And when they hear this other music, they know that they're going to go wild. So it's a lot of fun as well. Yeah, but it's
Wow.
exactly what we do.
It sounds like such an expansive 10, how many days?
My program is 8 days. In America, there's a 6 day and a 10 day program. I
Okay.
like 8 days because we have the 8 keys of excellence, and I like to have one key per day, key talk per day.
Okay.
Um, and so when we focus on this, yeah, the kids are really learning by doing. They're learning flexibility by doing various challenges, and then they realize, wow, I've been flexible, or they learn how to be leaders in a way. Not, even introverts learn that they have a lot to offer. Doesn't mean they have to live it out loud.
Hmm.
They can be comfortable with who they are and express
Yeah,
themselves.
I think it's such a great thing that you're doing, because it's things that are in addition to and very expansive from what they're learning in a normal everyday school environment. And I'm not an educator in that way in the school systems, but it seems like there's so much more there that they can learn, and then they grab onto, and they can take that into their future.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking while you were talking about sustainability. So there's the 8 day, 6 day program. What about afterward? What happens? Is there some sort of a system set up to sustain the learning,
Yeah.
or
So we think so. The kids get their playbooks. We don't call them workbooks. So they have their playbooks that kind of lay out a lot of the things that we taught them, so they can always go back and remind themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they do that? um, they stay in touch. They form like their own family in this short time. It's crazy. It's because of the deep connections that they make with each other. We have taken the phones away, and so they really get to compare notes, watch, talk to each other, go deep, and they form such deep connections. So they hang out with each other. The parents on the last day, they get a 2-hour parent workshop without the kids present.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, and parents get their own playbook as well. So maybe, their daughter is stuck on an essay, they can go back and say, hey, did you try this? But what we believe is that, 8 days is a habit. By the time we've had the kids 15 hours a day working on upping their game and working on you can change your course. You fail at something. Will there be this little voice in their head saying failure is just feedback? It's just feedback. It isn't an abject failure. I don't have to throw away the baby with the bathwater. So we know that these things stay in their head, but we do have now set up a program where the families can log in and get and be part of like a monthly reminder. Here, try this, remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've set this up recently, and things are a lot easier now with WhatsApp groups to kind of send a reminder. But we think that there's a lot of stuff that will remind the kids, and why they become lifelong learners is that they enjoy it. Certainly, when the kids leave camp, they always say, "Oh, why don't they teach us this way at school?" Well, in America, we have hundreds of teachers who have been through our quantum learning program or quantum teaching programs, or we do a lot of training in America and elsewhere in the world. So we know that there are kids in other schools around that are getting the whole benefit of this.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet in Europe, but
So your program starts, or your next program starts when?
so we're welcoming kids July 29th, picking them up at various airports around the north of Italy. It lasts till August 5th, so Sunday to Sunday. And that's in the Italy's northern, so it's in the Dolomite Mountains, which it's a lot cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing it up there in the summer. We think that, kids can learn in a little bit cooler environment than, let's say, Tuscany in August. And we do we do some extra activities, and I have a mountain orienteering project that the kids love. I feel like that's kind of like how to navigate your future, how to navigate. I feel like it's a nice metaphor for that as well. And so then the last day, the parents come, they have their workshop. We have this amazing event that takes up the whole place that we are staying at, this beautiful hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there, Refugio Sores. And then we have a nice Italian buffet to send people off.
Wonderful. So then, how, if somebody watches this and thinks, "Oh my gosh, this sounds perfect for, my son or my daughter or somebody that they know," what do they do?
So they can go to our website, also even in Italian. That's supercampitaly.com. They can check it out and then drop me a line at info@supercampitaly.com. Um, but it's really important to set up a phone conversation, because every child is different, and every child might learn something different at the camp, at the program. And so I really like to know, about their kids. Are they having any challenges? Are they straight A students, but they don't want to do sports? Are they big sports people, but don't want to do academic? Who knows? I like to know about the kids. And then based on my 3 years of, let's say, observing our facilitators who all come from North America to my program, I can sort of tell them a little bit like how I see it might play out. And you know, it
Hmm.
depends on every child. Their growth, it can be huge. Their growth can, for me as an observer, it's like watching butterflies get out of the cocoon. It's crazy.
Hmm.
But and for parents, they usually see a quick results, but then, you know, also talk the parents through of the long-term
Yeah. So it's not
results.
like the kids just show up at the doorstep and then boom. There's a background information. They're so they're being explored a little bit more and maybe special needs or some known problems that they've had or whatever. So
Or
you're doing that.
they just want to go to like a big fancy university. They want to up their game. They're really driven. We get a lot of highly motivated kids academically. And some parents send the kids because they want them to maybe be less hard on themselves.
Hmm.
And
So
when they
it's
learn,
let me see if I can type it in here. Supercamp.com, you said?
supercampitaly.com is mine.
Supercamp, C-A-M-P, Italy, Italy.com. So that's the
Right.
website. Now you're also going to be tagged. You're also tagged on this video,
Yeah.
so they can
Great.
contact you directly here.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's
That's
the
probably
best
the
way.
quickest way. But if they want to find more information, it's Supercamp Italy. Can you see it on your screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
it showed up there perfectly. Okay, great. Wow, that's a trip. From our other conversations, I had some experience working with some summer camp with kids, and yeah, it's pretty transformational for them. From what I saw, what I experienced, it was a 10-day camp, and yeah, I mean, I think that these types of programs are so beneficial to kids, gets them out of their comfort zone, and gets them to be more, at least for those 8 to 10 days, to be more independent and and to like take responsibility for themselves
That's right.
instead of being dependent and felt, like when they're in school, there's so much pressure to learn and succeed and get A's and all these, the grades and
Right.
all that stuff and the homework. And this is kind of like that gets shut off for a while and they get to experience a new way of learning. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah. And
And
I,
truly learning and truly learning about themselves. But what I think, you know, we are big believers in the ripple effect. Like, how are you showing up? We ask the kids this every day. How are you showing up? How are you showing up with other people? How are you showing up with yourself? And, you know, like you say, and one of the other outcomes I think of camp, especially is one of our keys of excellence is ownership, and how it's all a choice. And all of these coaches and programs and books that are out there now, bless the world that they're coming out. You know, imagine if we had learned all of this when we were little
hmm
and growing up.
yeah, I never had the opportunity. My parents were, they were workers, and so
Right.
they weren't really into or didn't know about these types of programs that were available. And I think that it's so great that people have taken the time to create them. I mean, didn't really get involved until I was in my late 20s. And I see a
Right.
couple of people. There's Suzanne is on there. Hey there, girl. How are you tonight, rather? Did you get your 240 million steps in? She counts her steps. That's so cool. Um, Yeah, actually, Suzanne and I were involved in an organization for a number of years, the same one here in Chicago, and it was a growth organization. They're still around, and
Yeah.
yeah, we've got a lot of those principles. One of the things that I know is really, really, really important is this whole sustainability thing. So I'm so grateful for social media to be able to have something where people can stay involved and it's like with the Self Achievement Network, the whole purpose behind it is for people to have something where they can stay reminded about this thing about working on yourself. And there's so many tools available, and I
Right.
want to say thank you so much for being willing to come on and share some of your ideas and thoughts, and it's because it is important, and it
Yeah.
does help not just kids, it helps us big kids to remember that that we have a lot of life left in us, and we also have challenges. And so, anyway, thank you.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for providing this great opportunity to, you know, yeah, share this incredible gift that, has been around for a while, but is real. I think it's really coming to play. And, parents that take, parents who take these courses and join these groups like yours, they often say, oh God, if only my child could learn this stuff, right?
Hmm. Well, yeah, I
And
mean,
that's what
I wish I
we
could have
do.
had some of the learning when I was in my, teens, because I would have not made so many mistakes.
Join the club.
I mean, it's good to make mistakes, and we all know that, but there were some of them that were pretty big. So anyway, will you be willing to come on again before your program starts? I'd like to. I mean, there seems like that we can go off in a lot of different directions, and I'd like to learn more.
Oh, sure. Or and maybe we could do a live at the program. You can see some of the things we do with the kids right there.
Hmm. Well, that would be very cool. And
Yeah.
you can go live in this group anytime that you want. You don't need to have me here. I mean, it's nice to do that. But if there's something, a special message, or there's some update that you would
Oh,
like to do, you just push the button and you can go live.
oh, great. Okay, I didn't think of that. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
anytime. So,
So
okay, well, let's wrap it
grazie,
up.
grazie a tutti.
Hey, grazie a tutti. Thank you, everyone. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks again, Lisa, and good luck with everything. And we'll come on in, let's say, a week or so, and we'll see how it's going.
Okay.
Okay?
Ciao.
Bye, all of you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Bye, Suzanne. See you. Take care. All right.
All right,
Talk soon.
bye.
Bye-bye.